RLCS hopes end with this series. The other stays alive with a chance to make it in for Season 7. It is all coming down to this series for these teams.
A lot of pressure for both of them, of course. And, you know, I can understand the split desk. It makes perfect sense. I mean, Allegiance coming off a tough loss. Seabass a part of pretty much every goal except for one in that last series. So he played well, and Ty Not Tyler able to step up and score, and Aleutian able to take a bit of a back seat, but they did still lose.
And I mean, it was a similar story for both of these series. We saw Bread in their series; they lost 4-1, but they still had a lot of very good shooting opportunities that they let slip by. It was almost the same thing for Allegiance.
And I think if I had to pick, I like Bread. I mean, I love the pressure. I think
I like Bread too.
Yeah. God dang it! All right, let's get started.
Game number 1. And again,
I love you, James.
Yeah, I love you too, man. One of these teams, their journey ends here. You know, nerves certainly going to play a factor. Sathu, no boost, does get a piece of the ball. Sipical headed downfield. Ty with a good first touch. Seabass, he's up, reads it off the backboard, but didn't read it well enough. That could have been a chance for them.
And they really needed that to start off strong, I think. Set the tone for just themselves as a team to come off that tough loss and come out here and put a banger in like that would have been great.
But we've seen both of these teams struggling with that finishing. See if they can correct it in this series. Typical center ball, that met by Ty.
And this is going to be a very interesting game overall because Allegiance overall does have a fairly stingy defense. They didn't win any of their series, but they are a great defending team. So it really is going to come up to Bread and say, all right, how do we crack these guys?
We've seen multiple shooting opportunities for Bread last game that they couldn't make. They just missed. So if they have to contend with a defense that's also blocking shots on target, could spell tough times. And that net's going to be wide open for Seabass. And Allegiance, they get on the board first.
So Seabass may have missed the first one, but he will come out and get this. Aleutian with a nice pass, but AXB, he would love to have that one back. And Sathu, unfortunately, flipping a little bit late there as his wheels came off the sidewall. Didn't go across the net, just went straight out. And an easy gimme for Allegiance, so they get it back.
Oh, and a kickoff goal in favor of Bread. And just like that, achieves, we're all tied up.
Well, you can ask for a better answer if you're Bread. I mean, Aleutian with a cheat up. AXB decides to shade to the right, you know. He guesses properly. And
I'm telling you, man, it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
It is indeed. The kickoff goals have been fickle for a lot of teams this season.
You know, it makes you wonder if more teams will try to figure out if there's a better way. I mean, you think of kickoff prowess, you immediately think of classics in EG. And look at that follow of Sathu. He gets Bread the lead on this follow-up.
And this definitely does stem from kickoff. I mean, it's 10 seconds later, but Seabass just not in position as he was rotating back from the midfield. Just didn't have a good idea of exactly what was developing in front of him and just didn't go for that ball fast enough.
Yeah, and Ty had no boost in net. You know, it's just a symptom of if it's a bad kickoff and you have to get back to net, a lot of times you don't have time to even pick up any boost. Yeah. And now center ball, Aleutian. That shot will be high. Ty has no boost. He'll have to retreat. Sipical's going to turn on this one. Touch to himself first. Gets it by 1. Chance for Sathu. Net wide open. No, Seabass comes out to make the save. Good hustle from Seabass there. And now Sathu pops it by Aleutian. AXB up. But a good win from Seabass. Sipical up in the air is not going to get the greatest hit on it. Good challenge from Ty. AXB getting it downfield. Seabass denies it. And now Ty trying to get that out into the center. Sipical has lots of boost, but he has to wait for the shot. A narrow miss from Aleutian.
And Lawler said it. Crossbars their 4th player, and it's not their best one as they ding it one more time and miss the equalizer, but they haven't given up hope yet. One more.
And also an Aleutian seeing team members down there trying to drop it down. And absolutely, you got to stop passing to that 4th player. Now AXB getting cut off by Ty. Ty playing a big part in the scoring last series. Aleutian will try to follow it up himself, but Sipical has a great read.
Not the best catch either. Could be a great chance to break out.
And a little bit of a bump play. Ty getting jostled.
Nice block from Sathu. Had to recover off of that first missed challenge. Able to buy a lot of time for Sipical and get the ball going back the other way for Brett.
And now Ty, he had time to line up that long clear, but AXB cuts it off. Sipical challenging as well. Ty bounces it by the final defender. Ty ties it up for ALG.
So this one's going to be real tough to hit the crossbar on. Sathu took himself forward a little bit, realized his team wasn't winning the ball, tried to rotate back into net, and just didn't feel like he was comfortable enough giving even more space to start a dribble. Tried to challenge it backwards. Tyler makes him pay for it.
We saw some very close games with Splice and Allegiance. Allegiance keeping that going. Now AXB, shot high, Aleutian, key touch from him. Ty also getting it by. AXB's gonna turn, pops it over Ty. First touch, gets out of hand. Now Aleutian centers that ball.
Whoa, Tyler, why did he just run off? He didn't have any boost, I guess, and he went out to the midfield to grab it, but that was a great passing attempt from Allegiance, and they just squandered it.
And now a chance on the other side, crossbar it in. AXB gets the lead for Brett.
That stems all the way back to them just not going for that ball in the midfield. They pushed up on offense. They didn't have the resources for it. Maybe a miscommunication in the fact of what the team could and couldn't do, and they end up getting counterattacked, basically.
And they were vulnerable. AXB really making them pay there. Final minute. Sipical up off kickoff, going for flip reset.
Yes.
Taps it by Brett, now up by 2.
And this is a right way to go, Sipical. A clean win, a great cheat, and the perfect catch. Right under the bottom of the ball, just to lift it over the top.
He got his flip, and he flipped into the defender, but I think that was going in regardless after that first touch.
He had him beat.
So another kickoff goal. Will we see yet another? And now Ty flicking this downfield.
That was such a big goal for Brett as well. Because Allegiance, oh, never mind.
There's not much padding, but they're still up by 1. Allegiance, though, moving closer and closer. Seabass with a big touch right there, gets that opening for Aleutian.
Wonderful hard press from Allegiance as well, and that's really that offensive potential that I feel like Allegiance is capable of, because again, they get themselves on offense. The rotation is always very good from them. There's a lot of great challenges coming out of the midfield. They're hardly ever in each other's way. The pressure's good. It's just the execution is still lacking for them every now and again, but they do bring it back.
Oh, and that play from Seabass trying to just hover along that ball, go for the dunk. Aleutian's gonna get beat, AXB. He'll leave that one for Seabass. Now Ty, going for the center. Blocked by Sathu, that one might be going in. Ty has to scramble back, Sipical.
Way to waste time.
And they're just melting time away. We saw Allegiance get a 0-second goal before. Can they do it again?
Oh,
that
dear.
one stays alive, but
Okay.
Sathu comes in, taps it down, and Brett are victorious in Game 1.
And the one that makes the difference to me in my head in this Game 1 was that AXB goal where Allegiance had the ball, they were pushing upfield, the pass across, Tyler didn't have boost, left it for his teammate, nobody went up for it, and Brett turned around and put the ball in the net. That's the big difference maker for me.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic shot from AXB.
It really was. It was a brilliant shot from AXB.
Crossbar down. Perfect placement.
Perfect placement. And Allegiance, I also got to give all the credit in the world. I mean, 7 saves. It wasn't easy playing against Brett, but I was surprised. I'm surprised they don't have more shots. They only have 6, but I felt like they got a fair amount of opportunities over on the Allegiance side of the pitch, or Brett side of the pitch, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so I liked the offensive pressure that we saw from Allegiance. I mean, of course, that one crossbar hit the ding against them, but they ended up turning that one around, got that one in the net. And it's good that Allegiance weren't sitting here all game playing just
again, they're keeping it close, but against Splice, Allegiance had that shooting advantage. I mean, they shot way more times than Splice.
Like 48
this time
to 32 or something.
Yeah, this time now Splice or Brett actually out shooting significantly, 13-6, getting over double the shots.
Yeah, and I think that is to be expected because, again, I do feel like Brett is a far more aggressive team on offense when it comes to that compared to Splice. So I think Allegiant definitely has their work cut out for them, but the fact that it was this close and they were able to get some great pressure bodes well, but they need to turn it around here.
And, you know, kickoff goals were also what separated
Indeed
these teams as well. The kickoff goals in favor of Brett really helped them out. So we'll see Game number 2 if Allegiance can answer back. Sypical. Now Lucian. AXB waiting for a tie on the back wall. He's gonna go for another touch. Gets his flip reset, pops it by Sypical.
Great challenge.
And now Lucian downfield. Ty is gonna go for it. Bouncing it off the ceiling, has another touch, gets it by Sathu. He'll hit that to safety.
And unfortunately, I think that one comes down to Seabass. Just wasn't able to make the proper read. Allegiance really could have put on the pressure there if he was able to read where that clear was headed. Unfortunately, had to concede space, and they have to fight through the middle of the field one more time.
Yeah, Ty had beaten a lot of defenders.
Yeah.
They just needed to be a little quicker to beat out that last defender in net. Now AXB, the challenge, using up all his boost for that. Sathu, center, but Seabass waiting for it. Full boost, Lucian. He's gonna have to bail out.
I think that was a good idea from Lucian because Seabass was the option for the pass there as they pushed up over onto the blue side of the field. But I think Seabass said, I don't have a lot of boost. You're going to have to do this on your own. So he just gave up the ball and tried to demo the guy and make the shot as easy as possible for Seabass.
Try to get those that number advantage. Now AXB, that shot off the crossbar, bouncing. Sypical's up. He's going to just try to go for the bump.
Open net. He missed it.
Counter-attack, and Seabass pushes it wide. Still, Lucian can go for it. He misses as well. And Allegiance will wish they had that one back.
Oh, Seabass, that feels so bad. You've had a rough go in this game, number 2. And unfortunately, that's one you got to put in, even if it is from all the way across the pitch.
I mean, we've seen Karma. She hit that shot in overtime all the way from her back wall. The Hail Mary. You cannot miss those opportunities no matter where you are on the field. If the net's open, gotta hit them.
No, Allegiance is doing a wonderful job making people miss on a lot of challenges. It's just, can they get over onto the bread half to really get some strong pressure going and create some quality chances like this one?
Chance now, Lucian, center ball to Seabass. Seabass
Yes!
off the crossbar and in. They finally capitalize the Chiefs.
I'm so glad it worked out because I was like, this is a good chance. Again, winning a lot of challenges, getting it away from defenders and bread. You know, Allegiance was still an RLCS team. There's a reason they got there. You know they can make it happen. It's just, is it going to come out every time? That time it absolutely did.
Yeah, that's how you use the 4th man on Allegiance.
There we go, yeah.
You just bounce it off him and in. So Allegiance, about the halfway point of the game, get the lead, but now a chance for Brett, bouncing in, and Lucian. A save from him. Now Seabass going just for the challenge there. Sathu bounces that off to the side. Lucian, no boost off to bail out. Now Sypical, Lucian, full boost from the half. Backward bounce, Sathu got there in time. Now Ty with a win.
Ooh, good.
Good first touch, but Lucian just out of his reach.
Yeah, Seabass waited for that challenge to let Lucian start pushing upfield, so he had a passing option instead of just touching it into space. Unfortunately for them, Bread was able to make the adjustment and get a tough touch on it.
Oh, and a strong shot from Ty. It's Ty, and the save from AXB. Seabass thought he had an open net.
Scrambling game from Bread on defense. This is really Allegiance flexing the muscles a little bit here in the later half of game 2.
Now Ty, miss out on that one. Lucian's up in the air, trying to read AXB's hit. Sypical down the sideline. Ty out into the middle, dangerous. Lucian with a hit.
Oh.
Ball still.
That was a massive touch.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
Because they had the demo and everything. One more time, Sathu!
Oh, and the bump there. Sypical was waiting. That ball just didn't bounce out to him. But Brad getting close. They're starting to warm up.
They don't have much longer. They need this clear.
Oh,
huge
it's
touch.
huge. Yeah, absolutely. AXB knew they were in trouble if he missed that.
Grabs the boost. Good.
That flick shut down. Sypical now has some time. He misses it. He's got no boost. He'll be out of the play. Lucian, final 30 seconds.
Nice
center ball.
touch.
Sypical's waiting, but Seabass breaks up the play. Seabass getting beat there. Lucian off the backboard. Sypical waiting on the other end.
Whoa.
Now Sathu, he'll give up possession.
Sypical cut inside. Sathu was trying to pass the ball down.
Oh, this is a long-range ball. This puts Brett on the attack. Sypical almost sneaks it in. A side flip. And AXB keeping it alive. Center ball.
What a read.
And that's it. Allegiance will take game number 2, but it was a close one.
A close one indeed. There's a couple things that I really loved about the final 30 seconds or so of this game. One, Allegiance's challenge out of the midfield. They had Bread back on their own half for, I don't know, a solid, in the final minute, a solid 30 seconds easy. Just great rotations, wonderful challenges, winning a lot of them, forcing Bread to have to constantly readjust and find a better clear option. Then, of course, the transition over onto offense. Bread, they did finally get control. They did finally push it over to the Allegiance half. They got one good chance with no time left. Problem is, the push was a little too slow. They got the demo and everything, and again, that stingy Allegiance defense able to keep them out of the net.
There was even a side flip there.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been much worse.
Could have been, but it's not, and it's great because that was exactly what I wanted out of Allegiance in Game 2. They made it a fight, able to keep things much more intact in terms of out of the midfield. A lot of great challenging overall across the entire game, and really limiting a lot of those chances that Bread had compared to Game 1.
This was such a close game. Just one goal separating them. Allegiance continuing to keep that up. Just a single goal separating.
So, James, I'm going to let you know that your mic's not working, buddy. So, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Yeah. But it is going to be a game number 3 here between Bread and Allegiance as everyone gets prepared to set up. And again, James, you were talking about it a little bit. It was a very close game. Are you live?
It seems to be working now. I guess it's just a loose cable. But that's something I can fix myself.
Proud of you.
Thank you. I didn't get a marketing degree for nothing. Now Sathu in the corner. Aleutian. Sypical. Oh, he missed that off the backboard. Now Allegiance on the attack.
Oh dear. That slight miscommunication between Bread will allow Allegiance to have a grip in the midfield. Do they hang on to the ball though? Way too much space given.
Double commit. Aleutian and Seabass both going for that one. Center ball. Sypical doesn't have a lot of boost. He'll drop it down. A heads-up play, but nobody for Bread could follow up, and that's a miss. Seabass getting the first goal for Allegiance.
And this touch from Sathu was hoping that AXB was willing to stay on offense and go and make that challenge. Unfortunately, he rotated back, which ended up being the right play because he didn't stay on offense. And the problem is his read was wrong, and he just straight whiffed the ball.
Yeah, but it was a smart shot, just going right for net.
Very.
Recognizing that those defenders are out of position. Now Sypical. AXB getting bumped off the back wall by Aleutian. And now counterattack. Great ball. Can the Seabass hit it? That one's high. Follow-up from Ty. That's wide. Seabass would love another crack at that one. You know he can hit those shots.
Absolutely. But if you're looking for keys to Game 3, because it is Bread that has to find an answer here, they got to figure out the challenge game from Allegiance compared to game number 2. They need to start winning these somehow.
Now Ty drops it for Aleutian. Aleutian into the corner. Ty with a pop-up.
Oh, they ran.
And he got the boost. So Ty almost getting that one in, using up all the boost that he stole. And now Sypical heading it downfield.
Allegiance ran into each other on the offensive half. And still, somehow, Bread wasn't able to take advantage and find a way to clear the ball. And in fact, Allegiance is still in control of this ball. Okay, there we go. Way to break it up, Sypical. Good job. And then he just gave it up. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Achieves it. You know, he's about to burst a blood vessel over here. But we're still very close. Could go either way. Bread still on the attack. But you said it at the start of the series, Achieves. A stingy defense from Allegiance. And it really has been. Sypical dropping that one and off the post.
And that was going to work because Bread were able to get behind the defense, bump him out of the net, and the guy who had to try and make that challenge was simply too close to the ball. Unfortunately, the finishing aspect, again, the big problem for Bread every now and again is just finding that one window they can put it through. Oh, broke up.
And now AXB, the last player back, got the save.
Still, there seems to be...
Oh, that net wide open. Ty strikes, and now a 2-goal lead for Allegiance.
This is just a great read from Tyler out of the midfield. He sees all the options for Sathiu in front of him, and he says, all right, he's either going to boom it up field over my head, or he's going to pass it to Sipical, and I'm just going to bet on the fact that he passes it to
You write him like a book.
Because I know I've got people behind me. So he just walks in, steals the ball, and says, yeah, I'll take those.
Ty not giving any space there. Sniffing out Sathiu's pass almost immediately. Now AXB getting cut off by Seabass in the midfield. Aleutian putting it into the bread corner. Aleutian, a good pop up. Ty, he's gonna miss that. Now Seabass versus AXB. Seabass gets that challenge win. Sipical up. Aleutian missed out on that one. And then AXB, a little touch from him, sent that ball off to the side. Bread being held scoreless, just a minute and a half left to play.
Held scoreless since the 1 minute mark of game 1. Shut out in game 2.
So it has been a drought for Bread. And now a miss there. Had Aleutian been up a little further, might have been able to capitalize on that one, but a miss as well from Ty. Chance for Bread. Ty with a touch, Aleutian clearing it downfield. AXB has nothing in the tank. Final minute. Bread need one right now. Sathiu, that touch won't do it. Seabass reads it. And now Chance Sipical. That one not going to be going in. Aleutian, a dangerous touch. And still on the goal line. Sipical finally puts it in for Bread. They're within 1.
And you thought that this one was going to be in, and Aleutian just did not get a good touch. Seabass trying to make do with what he can off the back wall to try and save the high touch. Just that's always going to be a tough play. And unfortunately, Allegiance overall finally get caught one step too far forward, and Bread make him pay.
So we'll see if Bread can steal a victory here in game 3. They still have to force overtime. Sathiu, he was in the middle. Sipical saw him, but couldn't get the ball over to him.
They're gonna need one more here.
Sathiu touch over to AXB. That challenge, ball still in a dangerous spot. Ty trying to get it cleared out. AXB off the ceiling. And now Ty hitting it up. Seabass also committed.
Oh, tough play.
Could be bad. Sathiu down, it's bounced right to Sipical. Yes! Sipical hits the shot, and we're all tied up.
How do you do it, Bread? Just when I didn't think you had anything left, a wonderful touch from Sathiu up and over Aleutian. Tyler not able to make the read fast enough. Sipical saw it coming all the way. Right on top of it's tied.
And it all started out with that double commit. Seabass, I believe it was Ty, both going for that. And now Bread with a chance to steal the game. Seabass letting that one touch. We've got overtime in game 3.
And what a way to battle back for Bread in the final 30 seconds. They are going to be pumped up if they take this overtime.
Aleutian in the corner. Now Ty to Sathiu. Sathiu gets it to Sipical. Sipical keeps possession. He's going to try to ground pinch it. Sathiu just out of position. AXB the last one back. Off the ceiling. Seabass almost threads the needle.
Oh, that was such a wonderful clear from Sathiu. I was going to say, this is the big test because they've been struggling to get it out over the heads of everybody, and they find a wonderful hole to buy some space.
Seabass touching it down to Ty. And now Seabass again keeping this ball in the Bread half. A miss there, but Sathiu cleans it up. Center ball. Sipical floats one towards net. Ty hits it off to the side. Now AXB. Aleutian getting a piece of that one. Ball still up in the Allegiance half, finally cleared. AXB.
He's got him beat.
Center over to Sathiu. Sathiu can hit the shot underneath the crossbar. Bread take game 3.
And Tyler caught a little too far forward, jumped and said, that is not it, Chief. Ran back to the goal, and he was well and truly toasted.
He buttered that bread right there.
I got my one in.
What a shot from him, though. Just, he saw that defender streaking back towards net.
Yep.
Sathu, it kind of reminds me of the opportunity that Seabass had on his counterattack. He had a very difficult angle to redirect. Didn't make that hit. But Brett, Sathu as well, in a massive moment. That is such a momentum shift in favor of Brett.
It's a massive momentum shift because, again, you'll remember Allegiance had a 2-goal lead at 30 seconds left. And just like that, I mean, Brett find the back of the net one time, you go forward a couple of seconds, and Allegiance get caught out twice in a row, basically, and they concede in overtime as well.
Now let's take another look at this overtime goal. A high-speed pass here from AXP gets that over to Sathu. Sathu, though, just absolute wonderful placement. You see Ty, if that shot's too low, Ty's going to be able to perhaps bounce that up and across the net.
Yeah, he definitely has a chance.
Sathu gave him no chance.
Yeah, a perfect shot from Sathu, and Tyler's so close, got a little bit greedy for that midfield boost, took him out of position, and again, perfect capitalization overall from Brett. It was not a clean start to that game at all. We were talking they were shut out since the 1-minute mark of game number 1, and just like that, they put on 3 in the final couple of minutes.
And that's just something that, I mean, when you look back on a series and try to find the turning point, that very well could be the turning point for Brett to really kick it into high gear.
Goal to tie it up. You know what, James? I'm going to put a star next to it.
All right.
Put a star
I don't know what that means, but
the turning point.
Okay. So we'll see if
So when we get to the end of this 7-game series and be like, that's when it mattered.
Yeah, the stars. And now Lucian pushing this ball into the Brett half. AXB will have some boost now. He's going to stay with this one, challenging Ty. Sathu going for the clear, but quickly Allegiance are just tightening the screws on this Brett defense.
Yeah, all of that game number 3 was actually, until you got to the final couple of minutes, was really Brett not having the cleanest offense in the world. A lot of miscommunication on where they needed to put the ball. Here they're covering the same part, and he own goals it. I thought that was a freebie of a
There was 2 players in net, but Alusha doesn't care. A strong shot towards the upper 90, and you see that it looked like it was going to get saved.
That's one he saves in his sleep, and you know, you kind of put your brain on autopilot maybe for that one. You just didn't go get it enough. There's nothing else to say there except
you
gotta save that one, buddy.
That one was looking like an easy save for Brett, but Alushan perhaps just catching the defense off guard. Now Sathu driving backwards.
Look at Alushan.
Can he make it work? Yeah, he somehow does.
And it's been all about Brett having to make adjustments because, again, Allegiance are showing that offensive potential that I know they're capable of. They can be a strong offensive team. They are capable of applying wonderful pressure, which they have done through games 2 and 3. It's just unfortunately they let 3 slip through their fingers, but they're picking up right where they left off here in game 4, I feel.
Absolutely, but a 1-goal lead is never safe. And a miss there from Alushan. That'll put him upfield, though. Sometimes those tactical whiffs let you get in a better position, even though
wasn't even moving. It was actually
not
like rotating on the ground.
It's probably why it threw him off.
Yeah.
Very rarely does the ball not moving. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a ball stand as still as that.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
Now Alushan just taking his time. Seabass off the backboard, Sipical racing to it. Now Alushan, that one's going to be high, but Sathu still doesn't want to take any chances, puts it off to the side. Ty.
Still these challenges from Allegiance out of the midfield. So fast, that's a massive touch, but again, there's no follow-up there.
Yeah, it seems like Brett is using everything they have to just get the ball out of their own half, but it's immediately coming right back.
So fast. Tyler, you madman. They're forcing them just to have to make tough touches just to keep it away from him, and it costs so much resources to do that. A huge chance. Sebekol gets one right in front of the net, and Allegiance, for once, can't get in front.
And this, you know, we were talking about all the pressure Allegiance has been putting on, but just like that, Brett get back on the board. It was a little fortunate, too, because there was a pinch that happened up in the corner that just sent that ball flying at super high speeds. An unpredictable moment there. But Brad, they'll take anything they can get off the ceiling. Sathu.
Tough play.
Another touch. And Ty bails out Allegiance.
Sipical was diving into that one. He knew where that ball was going.
Ty saving Allegiance right there from conceding yet another goal. Not much boost, but it is enough. However, Sathu didn't get the goal, but he got the demo. Counterattack. Aleutian puts it up high, and the AXB gets that save. Another center. Sipical upfield. Now shot coming towards net. AXB denies it. Ty off the back wall. Long clear. Sathu, he's there. Gonna try to mind game the defense. He didn't have any boost to work with. Good center ball. Ty, however, will get that clear. But Brad now on the attack. Do they have enough boost to make this happen? Sathu. It's gonna be a little slow to the ball. Aleutian off to the side, gets another touch as well, but Sipical still in the play, now getting bumped out of it. He'll have to retreat. Sathu gets a small touch to AXB.
AXB trying to get out in front of what he thought was gonna be a clear. And just to sort of bring back a point that Gilly made back at the start of the day, AXB really that big support player for Brett overall. He spends a lot of time in the midfield, covering a lot of shots on net that maybe Allegiance is trying to get a counterattack going. And he is a large part of why this team is able to transition so well on offense and stick there.
Yeah, we've seen him in the back, the last player, quite a bit. Even there, trying to get that clear. But this has been neck and neck. Ty, that shot blocked by AXB. Final 30 seconds. Sathu. And now Ty. Going for the sideline hit. Center ball. Nobody was there for Brad. Now Aleutian up to himself. A good challenge from Sathu. Seabass is up, however. Over to Aleutian. Aleutian to Ty.
Oh, it's open.
That play cut off. Net's open. Aleutian has to get back. And that's not the greatest touch. Ball out into the middle. And they'll they'll still keep it up.
Was that a mind game
And
attempt?
now, finally, overtime.
I wonder if Sathu let that one go right over his head and to see if Allegiance bit.
And hit overtime right off the kickoff.
Oh,
Feels
gutting.
bad, man. Holy cow.
Gutting for Brad. They got what they thought they wanted, but Tyler somehow.
Unless you're Allegiance, then it feels amazing, man.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Perfect. That's just like you drew it up.
But you hate to see it. You hate to see a kickoff goal like that be the decider in a game. However, Allegiance, they'll take whatever win they get. They don't care.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, they all spread out. They had the cheat up going. AXB shaded to the proper side of the field because they got that kickoff on the opposite side of the ball to draw it back that way, unfortunately.
And
Tyler did the right thing.
Whose fault is that?
Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is that?
It's nobody's.
I feel like the fault is at the kickoff.
You can never. Well,
the ball should never come straight backwards at your own.
I agree.
Never.
The ball should never come straight backwards on a kickoff. I think you're right about that. But
I mean, it's a lot of times in today's game, you're trying to lose the kickoff back to your own half.
Yeah,
right.
But win the kickoff.
Win. Okay, yeah.
You're
trying to get the ball to roll back to your own half, up the wall to your side to your teammates.
Yes, yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. That time, he just completely missed.
Yeah,
and sometimes you see that if a player tries to send it to their back, a lot of times you're trying to let the other team hit it into you. So you're not necessarily flipping into the ball. You're just trying to angle so when they hit it into you, it goes backwards. Right. That time, we just saw a drive-by. They just drove right by the ball, and then, net wide open. So,
but that's also why
you hate to see it. And you love to see it if you're an Allegiance
Exactly.
fan.
That's why I'm a big believer of always leave one in the net. I know it slows down the push on the offense, yada yada, but it's so worth it.
I've said that quite a bit as well. I've always kind of believed you might as well have one player back on net, but in that situation, what do you do?
You can't afford to let that be the game-winning goal.
Because now with kickoffs, most of the time, that player who's getting the corner boost in the back will get back in time.
Yeah.
But that was
unless
just
exactly that
happens.
that happens. But it is game number 5. And Brett, they made a couple of good answers to Allegiance. I think Allegiance at the start of game number 4 were still winning the challenge game, Bread, as it went on, started to get a better handle on it, and I'm curious to see how Game 5 plays out. As far as I'm concerned, this is right back to square one for both teams.
It has been back and forth. Bread taking one overtime victory. Allegiance getting another thanks to that kickoff. And now, chance for Sipical. He'll find the back of the net. 15 seconds in, Bread take the lead.
This is just seeing what sticks against the wall here. 3 members and a big miss from Seabass. And Aleutian dove at the first one. Tyler tried to cut it off. He was close, but not enough. And Sipical finds the one hole.
So now quickly into Game 5, Bread getting off to an early lead. Now Sathu off the back wall. Ty, he missed the read. Sipical's shot wasn't on target. That one high. Another follow-up off the post. Another follow-up, and Sipical finally hitting the shot.
The big play here is AXB. He was behind Aleutian on that challenge, and he said, no, we need to win this and get this off the back wall and keep the pressure going. And that is a massive play from him to keep that one alive.
So Brad just peppering the net. Finally getting that one by. And a miss, and Sipical is going to take full advantage. A miss on defense left that door wide open.
Yes. Next question.
I didn't even ask any questions.
I know.
You just don't want to talk about that goal, I understand.
There's nothing that need be said about that.
So now Brad, less than a minute into Game 5, already putting up a trio of goals. And all of them at the hands of Sipical, a hat trick for him. And now Sipical, a chance to put another one on the board. Sathu, that's high.
Aleutian was in a bad spot there, and you feel like if that one found its way into the back of the net, you could already write off game number 5. 4-goal lead. I mean, yeah, you'd have a lot of time, but...
Ooh, and a strong shot. A 4th goal for Sipical. And this was a good pass into the mid.
Yeah, Tyler, he's literally just trying to buy time. Unfortunately, Bread's all over it, and they get a wonderful
97 miles an hour.
That is a banger.
Yeah, I mean, it deflected off a defender, but 97.
Yeah.
That is fast.
It's the perfect touch right back into the midfield. They were reading Tyler and what he was going to do with that ball and what his options were, and Brett pounced.
So, and it wasn't even Brett that scored 4 goals so far. It's been Sipical.
Yeah.
Sipical, all at the hands of himself.
Sathu with 3 assists, however.
Getting that playmaker. And a drop down from Sipical, almost getting his 5th.
So about that Allegiance defense, that's so good. They are getting dismantled in this Game 5.
I mean, this is a best of 7. It's a long haul. Maybe they're letting the defense take a breather this game.
You're going to have to figure something out. I mean...
And it's not over yet. I mean, if Allegiance can get one in right now, or get one in soon, get a couple, then it's doable.
It's rare that I say a game's over with 3 minutes left, but if Bread keep this pressure up, it's like I feel like Allegiance needs something in the next, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds to feel like they want to even have a chance.
And now Sipical, the net wide open for him. That's his 5th. Yeah, I'm with you, Chiefs. This is a runaway game for Bread.
This is definitely a runaway game. They're finally... I mean, Bread starting to beat Allegiance to a lot of these challenges out of the midfield, which Allegiance was winning earlier on in the series. And so now it's Allegiance who has to one more time kick that pace up a notch.
Ty. Now Allegiance need to just make this respectable. We're not even at the halfway point. Already 5 goals. All of them scored by Sipical, and Seabass gets Allegiance on the board just seconds before halftime.
And this is all Bread kind of just tying themselves up. Like, why is Sipical backing up on the back wall towards the corner and then like, oh, hang on, I need to play defense? That was just not pretty. Now, Sipical's been too busy thinking about how to score goals. He forgot to play defense that time.
Hey, man, sometimes the best defense is a good offense.
In Rocket League, it absolutely is.
Sipical living by that. 5 goals for him. Seabass. Now Sathu going to try to recover. Seabass getting that out into the mid. Center ball, and Sipical was there. Aleutian somehow in the right spot to get the save.
Brett doing a wonderful job getting these balls away from the sidewalls, out towards the top of the box, away from defenders. It's great pressure from them.
Again, this is an elimination match. The loser will be relegated down to the rival series. Ty getting one more for Allegiance. They're starting to creep back.
And Ty is, you know, we talked about it at the start of the day, hasn't had the best season offensively, but today he's been delivering a couple of big goals for them, and it continues here in this series against Bread. Unfortunately, you feel like it's not going to be enough here in game number 5, but overall, he's stepped up well for his team. They've needed that more offensively minded approach, and Ty Not Tyler was that guy down in the rival series. AXB wants a nutty goal. But Ty Not Tyler, I've enjoyed his contribution to Allegiance's play today so far.
But now, time's running out for them. They're down by 3. This is it. If you lose this series, you are back in the rival series. No chance at the RLCS. Ty up to Aleutian, but Aleutian had to back out. Seabass, the last defender back, hits it off to the side. Shot blocked by Ty. And now Sipical back in. Seabass, not the greatest touch. That could have been horrible, but AXB was a little too far away. Still a chance for Sipical. Puts it down off the corner of the ceiling. Sathew's slow to the ball, but still in a dangerous spot.
And it's just constant pressure. If you're putting a caption on game number 5, Bread pressure, move on.
A touch upfield. Aleutian getting bullied by Sipical. Gets that boost there, and a demo traded out. And the dunk, Aleutian now putting Allegiance within 2.
Within 30 seconds, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Great touch from Ty Not Tyler just to make AXB maybe overstep that ball a little bit. And Aleutian just a quick wheel around to get that one back in hand. So let's see if they can pull it off. Why not?
Seen multiple kickoff goals already. And they do it here. Ty is ready for that one to bounce off the backboard, but it didn't follow through. Sathew down. Seabass clearing it wide, gives it over to Ty. Now Seabass upfield. Ty gonna go up the wall. Needs to get one right now. Time running out. That's gonna be it. Bread in game number 5. Take it to Allegiance, and that's it. Bread moving 1 game away from staying alive in this promotion tournament.
The slow, steady rise continues for Bread, 1 step closer. Allegiance back against the wall. This is it. And that is not the game you want to have if you're looking down the barrel of elimination, because that one got out of hand in a hurry.
I mean, Sipical, if he left the game, it would be a pretty dominant performance for Allegiance, you know? Sipical, he did everything. 5 goals on 8 shots. 755 points.
Yeah, a wonderful game from Sipical. Again, him and Sathew, the big offensive contributors, all down to how AXB plays the midfield and keeps them on offense, a large part of that. And Allegiance, they were at least able to stop the bleeding once they got to about the halfway point of the game. Unfortunately, it was already so far out of hand that despite finding 3 in the final 2.5 minutes, it still felt like that was already a write-off game for them. So Allegiance, going into game 6 here, you got to up that pace a little bit. You got to start beating or at least tying Bread to these challenges, because that was game 1, Bread, where it says we're putting shot after shot after shot on you, and that is where Allegiance, you know, it's their wheelhouse, defense, but you can't
score if you only play defense.
Score on defense, James. You're a brilliant man.
You know, I mean, we saw Karma do it. She was on her own wall.
Different case.
But here we go. This could be the final game for Allegiance. No more lives left. And now Sipical. 5 goals for him last game. Can he have a repeat performance? Seabass up for the shot. That's just going to bounce high. Ty to AXB. Downfield, Seabass was waiting at the midfield, going for a dunk. Used up all his boost for that. Now everyone low on Allegiance. That one fine, going towards net, but a save from Seabass. Still, Sypical, the shot, that one just wide.
And you can see Allegiance, they're trying to up that pace in the midfield on those challenges. It's opening holes on their back line, and they're having to take some risks.
Oh, and a miss there. If Sypical was just a little further out, he'd have been able to score off that tie miss. And Allegiance still struggling for boost. AXB with the follow-up. That's bouncing straight down, a demo.
They need help, they need help. Oh, no.
Allegiance, they're scrambling to stay alive.
And it's back the other way, Sypical to AXB. This one's gonna stutter out, I think. But it was such a wonderful push from Bread. They were able to tackle the second man in the rotation. A lot of the times leave that third man back in a tough position. Unfortunately, they weren't able to convert, but love the push from Bread.
And they're still going. I mean, they have a lot of boost left to continue this attack. But a good hit there from Seabass. Cover center ball. AXB a low shot. AXB with the follow-up. Out to Sathu, a side flip, but everyone's missing. Off the crossbar and down. Sypical went for that bump, but Ty was still able to get that clear.
You're Brad, you're wondering, Sypical, how are you not finding the back of the net? You had 5 in the last game, but Allegiance, they are skating by, and they will take the 0-0 tie. This is, I think, the first time we've seen them on offense all of game number 6.
And we're past 2 minutes into game number 6. So it has been very one-sided, but Brett haven't been able to get that one in.
What a touch. A huge tackle from Sypical to get the ball back in the hands of Brett.
Now Sathu's going to chase this down. Ty also on the wall. Ty gets there first. Going for the solo play. Trying to push that one through. Now Seabass getting beat by Sypical. Ty keeps it in the Brett half, but AXB bounces it out. A response from Aleutian. It is back and forth right now. Chance for AXB. Pushes that one wide. Down to Sathu. Sathu, there's a bump in net. Aleutian hits it straight up. Chance, Ty misses his hit, and Aleutian will get the clear. And now Ty going off the backboard. Sypical ready and waiting.
Oh.
And now Sypical again denying that one. Ty touches it up. Aleutian will take over. A weak shot. A miss hit from Sathu. Chance for Ty. Center ball. Seabass, but gets shut down by AXB.
That was the real test for Bread right there. Allegiance had a couple of good chances. They had to make a lot of tough clears off the back wall and stop a great pass, but Bread keeps it locked up. We might see a 0-0 OT, I feel.
See if Allegiance can hold on. Their backs are to the wall. Nothing left. They cannot lose this game, otherwise they are done.
Oh, that's a weird one.
And now AXB sees Sathu. Sathu, the redirect off both posts and out. You can't get much closer than that. And now Seabass has a wide open counterattack.
Boy.
My, oh my.
If that's not the same thing that has been Bread's worst nightmare all day. The series against Rogue, crossbar, crossbar, post. This one against Bread.
How do you even hit both posts and have it bounce out perfectly to be counterattacked on? A tough break, but Sypical now, a chance for them. That's high. Follow-up from AXB. Hits the post. Bread struggling to find their mark. And now Aleutian going for a dunk. Seabass was just a little off. Hit back downfield, but Aleutian into the Bread corner. Ty off the back wall. Sathu waiting. Final 30 seconds. Bread want to close this one out. And a miss. Sypical! 22 seconds left on the clock. Sypical finally gets the 1 goal Bread needed.
And you felt like it would have been a crime if Bread didn't walk away with 1 goal in game number 6. It couldn't have come at a better time. 22 seconds before OT, a pass from AXB to Sypical. Finally fits it under the dreaded crossbar. And they have a chance.
Sypical has, scored the last 6 in a row?
Correct.
See if Bread or Allegiance can make something happen in regulation.
7.
Center ball. Off the corner. Ty misses that one. Perhaps Typical will let this die. We do. Overtime in Game 6. Allegiance 1 game away from having their RLCS hopes ended. Sathu up in the air. AXB beats Aleutian to the ball. Off the ceiling, Typical, that one blocked by Seabass.
Stole the boost.
AXB, a touch to himself. He's gonna leave this one perhaps. He does. And now, hitting it off to the side, Typical will take over. Self-pass from him. Long clear, Ty puts it off the backboard. Sathu taps it up for AXB. AXB.
There's Typical.
Couldn't
double
dunk it.
commit, that's not good.
But a good touch from Ty. Seabass, shot opportunity
No boost.
perhaps.
No boost.
So Seabass has to bail out. AXB taking over. Using up all his boost for that hit. Typical trying to challenge.
That was very good for Allegiance from Seabass to kick that ball into neutral ground and let everybody get set. And now they go back the other way.
See if that counterattack will pay off. Typical with a big touch here. 1v1 situation. No boost for AXB and Ty.
Man.
Gets a hit.
Lucian needs to find a good place for this ball. Straight up actually might have been it.
Now Typical, no boost from him. And Seabass bounces off that ball. AXB. Slow play. Aleutian's up. Center ball. Sathu over to Typical. Typical narrowly misses.
So many great passes. So many
Seabass.
tough shots, and one more the other way.
Seabass trying to start that counterattack.
Leaves it for Ty. Okay.
And Allegiance has been holding strong in this overtime. Now trying to start their counterattack. A miss hit from Sathu. That's going to bounce straight down. But bailed out by Typical. AXB now hits it up for Typical. Typical, that shot off the backboard. Is anyone there for Brett? Blocked by Aleutian.
They continue to steal that corner boost. AXB's here for one more, and again, they're just making Allegiance waste so many resources to play defense. You gotta feel like they're gonna break eventually. A huge bump from Seabass makes Sathu giving it a suboptimal touch, but Brett will still hang on because he returns the favor.
Center ball, give and go. The ball, oh, the shot from AXB. He moves Brett on. Allegiance, their RLCS hopes are over.
And it comes from a nice give and go for Brett. It felt like they had to do it. They were putting so much pressure on Allegiance that entire game. Crossbar, crossbar, post, crossbar, post, crossbar, post, post, crossbar, post, and finally into the back.